For months, 3EY Atlas was the sky's most beautiful nightmare. An interstellar leviathan, glowing with an intense emerald light that unnerved every astronomer. Its scale, its rhythm, its strange energy pulses, nothing about it made sense. Humanity was just learning to accept it as a single, mysterious anomaly racing toward the sun, until the unimaginable happened. Atlas didn't fragment in chaos like a dying comet. It divided. Smoothly, deliberately, into two colossal bodies. This was not a breakup. This was reproduction. One body held its original course, the other shifted, bending its path, not randomly, but with chilling precision, directly toward Mars. The moment shattered our understanding of celestial objects, forcing scientists, governments, and ordinary people alike to ask the terrifying question: what exactly is Atlas, and why has it doubled its purpose? The event itself unfolded slowly. High-resolution imaging revealed a bulge, a new luminous core condensing out of the coma, distinct yet tethered. Comets break violently, leaving chaotic clouds of shattered dust. Atlas's split was nothing like that. It was symmetrical, controlled, a perfect mitosis. It defied every law of celestial mechanics. Both entities retained dense cores, both radiated the exact same emerald glow, both pulsed with the exact same rhythm. It looked less like a physical event and more like a volitional act. Atlas had not been destroyed. It had multiplied its intent. Once the split was undeniable, the focus turned to trajectory. The original Atlas maintained its steady arc toward the sun. But the second object began to deviate almost immediately. The numbers revealed a chilling truth: its path was bending directly toward Mars. This was not random, it was an intercept course with the red planet's orbit. Suddenly, humanity's dreams of Mars, its rovers, orbiters, and visions of colonization, were cast into jeopardy. Even more disturbing was the ghostly synchronicity that persisted. Despite the growing distance, their electromagnetic pulses remained perfectly locked, flashing in tandem. Identical timing, identical frequencies. They were twin beacons, operating as a singular consciousness stretched across millions of kilometers of void, connected by some invisible thread. This was not two objects. It was one presence, divided for a specific expansion. As the second fragment neared, satellites orbiting Mars began to register unexplained fluctuations. Even the James Webb Telescope reported interference aligned with Atlas's twin pulses. The idea took hold. This was not destruction, it was expansion. Then came the visual proof of intent. The second object was not merely glowing, it was emitting structured patterns of light. Spirals, grids, and geometric shapes flashed across its emerald halo like writing across the sky, patterns that eerily resembled mathematical constants and ancient symbols found on Earth. It looked less like a chaotic reflection and more like a deliberate message aimed at Mars. As the fragment crept closer, the subtle changes on Mars intensified. The thin atmosphere showed sudden disturbances. Dust storms formed in patterns too organized to be random, spiraling with eerie symmetry. The planet's faint magnetosphere began to register fluctuations, glowing faintly in ultraviolet scans as though being reawakened. It was as if the approaching fragment was already exerting influence, claiming the world humanity had always dreamed of reaching. An event of this magnitude should have consumed every headline. Instead, we were met with a baffling, clinical silence. NASA and the world space agencies offered only dry, evasive statements. Behind the sealed doors, the truth leaked in terrified whispers. They weren't trying to prevent panic, they were concealing a realization. They knew the second object was not behaving like a natural fragment. The decision was made to hide its true, intelligent nature. Public data streams were cut during key observations. For independent observers, the official silence became the loudest, most chilling confirmation of all. The world was being intentionally kept blind. By the time the fragment crossed the asteroid belt, the synchronization evolved. The pulses now aligned with Mars itself, creating a low-frequency resonance. A hum that echoed through orbiters and rovers. Even faint seismographs on Martian soil registered rhythmic quakes that matched the emerald pulses. Mars was no longer just a target. It had become part of the signal, vibrating in harmony with Atlas's heartbeat. As the fragment neared Mars's orbit, telescopes recorded structured bursts of light, spirals, triangles, hexagons, projecting into space like a cosmic light show. These deliberate patterns, following ratios known on Earth, seemed to confirm ancient myths. Civilization spoke of green stars that divided and returned. If the myths were memories, then Atlas's division and approach were not accidents of nature. They were part of a cosmic cycle, a deliberate re-emergence. The approach affected Mars's moons, Phobos and Deimos. Phobos subtly shifted its path. Deimos began to glow faintly with the emerald hue. They were acting as receivers, amplifying the resonance. Meanwhile, on Earth, our instruments began to fail. Satellites around Mars dropped offline. Telescopes experienced unexplained shutdowns. Radio dishes received structured, almost musical bursts of noise. It was as though the universe was preventing humanity from seeing what was happening in detail. The remaining rovers on Mars, though malfunctioning, captured the final evidence. Rhythmic tremors deep within the crust and dust storms that swirled in geometric patterns, spirals and hexagons. It was activation from within. Atlas was not coming to destroy Mars, but to awaken something that had always been there, buried beneath the red dust. Ancient records of twin stars and green flames descending to a red world suddenly felt like not myths, but echoes of a cosmic cycle humanity had long forgotten. And then came the night that changed everything. As the fragment reached Mars's orbital plane, it maneuvered into a perfect alignment between the planet and the Sun. The resulting spectacle was an eclipse of blinding emerald radiance. Mars vanished under a curtain of pulsating green light, becoming a living beacon. Observers watched geometric patterns, hexagons and spirals, ripple across its surface, pole to pole. For hours, Mars was no longer a lifeless world. It was a receiver, consumed by the resonance of Atlas. When the light faded, the planet re-emerged, but it was irrevocably changed. Mars had been activated. In the days following the emerald eclipse, the rhythmic quakes continued. Surviving rovers recorded strange fluctuations in the ground's magnetic signature, hinting at enormous subterranean structures responding to the signal. Mars had been waiting, dormant, holding secrets beneath its dust that only a visitor like Atlas could unlock. Then, without warning, the resonance spread beyond Mars. Radio telescopes on Earth began picking up faint but undeniable echoes of the same pulse that synchronized Atlas's fragments. When decoded, the signals revealed repeating shapes, spirals, hexagons, identical to the geometries near Mars. This was no longer a distant spectacle. It had crossed space, a message transmitted deliberately. Governments scrambled to classify the signals. Independent researchers who caught early fragments had their accounts mysteriously vanish. For the first time, humanity understood, Atlas's journey was not isolated. It was part of something larger, something reaching out to Earth itself. The countdown has already begun. Atlas is not a comet, not an accident. It is a process, a design, a presence with purpose. We are not watching a phenomenon from another star. We are witnessing an awakening that may redefine our place in the cosmos forever. Because the signals no longer belong to another world. They are here now, pulsing in our skies.